and we think that all of us are able to communicate. Clearly not, because I guess for today we'll get to chat to us about exactly what it takes to become an effective communicator. We get to chat to Kefilwe Morobane from Giving Wings. We'll get to chat to her about who she is, what she does, how she does it, and what's exactly set her soul on fire. Kefilwe, a very good morning and welcome to Conversations with Nnusi.
Hello, and what a joy to be with you today.
Thank you so much. Kefilwe, I mean, like I said, like we all think that communication is something that is innate in all of us. We think that communication is something that we all know how to do as soon as we start, learn how to speak. You have got a different opinion on that. We'll get to chat about that in a short while. I just need to understand. So, who's Kefilwe and where are you from?
Oh, wow. So, Kefilwe is a young woman who is passionate about life and grateful for the opportunity to live this human experience.
Okay.
I am born in Rustenburg. I was born in Rustenburg, raised in Rustenburg, and just from a young age, I've always had a passion for public speaking.
Okay.
And at that time, I didn't know it would propel me in the field of communication.
Okay.
But I was that one who, I don't know if you remember when you were at school and your teacher would ask the class, particularly in English, to deliver oral presentations. Yep. I used to be the one whose eyes would literally shine at the prospects. And I'd stand in front of the class, deliver my speech with confidence and impact. But one of the things that I realized that as much as it was so effortless for me, there were a lot of my fellow peers who were struggling. Yeah. And one of my friends in high school literally used to be so scared at the prospect of standing in front of an audience that I would coach her and tell her that she can do it. And before I knew it, with the insights that I'd shared with her, it really built her confidence. And that then propelled me to study communication management at the University of Pretoria. I have my master's degree in communication management because the greatest problem realized, Nnusi, is that everyone communicates exactly to what you've said. It's innate with us. But the ability to communicate effectively is something that a lot of people struggle with.
Sure. Okay. So we'll get to unpack that, in detail in a jiffy. So would you then say, because you speak about how passionate you were, you've always been about public speaking, and because I'll tell you a story. So back in primary school, so one, I have got speech impediment issues. So I don't speak very well in public. I get I begin to stutter when I'm a bit nervous and all of those things. And I remember I had a teacher in primary school who forced me to speak in public, right? So we used to have a thing called readers of the week. So during that week, so kids were encouraged to read everything and then come stand in front of the class and start reading. And I would never do that. I would refuse blatantly to do that. And the first time I got to stand in front of 600 people was in primary school, and she made me the MC for Reader of the Week.
Oh, wow.
We'll get to chat about how that experience changed my life and how I hated it back then and how I love it today. But back to our conversation about, so have you always known that you wanted to be in this space, or was it something that just happened to you by chance?
I think what I have always known is that I want to use my voice to unleash the human potential in others and unleash the greatness and excellence that lies within people. And that's what I knew growing up. My parents can also attest to that just being in the presence, whether it's family gatherings, Kefilwe was the one who would bring light, who would bring those sparkles of joy and captivity. So that is what I did know. I remember though when I was in university and I had to select what is the course that I would study. I was with my mom at that time, and coming from a traditional black family, the courses back then that were renowned were either be a lawyer, be a doctor, or go into a particular field. And my mother had encouraged me to study law.
Okay.
And I just didn't see it. I didn't see myself as a lawyer. So I remember as we were about to submit the application, I had put down communication. And my mother was like, put down law. But I knew that this is something for me, and in the selection of this career field is that it comes effortlessly for you. and it is something that I'm very passionate about. So in the knowing, that is what I would say. I knew that I wanted to work with people. I wanted to help people by using my voice to unleash that potential within them. That's only later on when you grow that you realize, like, now the dots connect. Yeah.
So I mean, I've always believed that you're as good as what you're exposed to, right? Yeah. And I'll tell you why I say that. So both of us grew up in Brazil, and we all knew there was a lawyer, there was a nurse, there was a teacher, there was somebody who worked at the mines, he was either an artisan or a civil engineer, whatever. So we then, got exposed to that kind of life, and anything outside of that was something that was uncomfortable for all of us, right? And most of our parents. So would you then say to me that at an early age you were able to identify what your gift was, and you were then able to marry that to your passion?
Definitely, and I attribute the identification of the gift primarily to my parents, because they exposed myself and my siblings to as many opportunities as possible. One thing I remember growing up was that I was always busy.
Okay.
Whether I'm taking part in academic activities, extramural activities, it was just that exposure to say yes. And once you've been exposed to all these different avenues, you decide what is it that you love. So from a young age, I took part in speech and drama, public speaking, debating, English, extra activities, Olympiads. And in that, I was able to identify, this is what I'm passionate about. Also reading and exposure to literature out there and the possibilities that one can embark on. My parents were also very cautious around what is it that we watch. So the type of programs. I grew up a lot watching Oprah Winfrey. Okay. So at that time we were on SABC3. She would come on, I think, at 5 o'clock. Yeah. And we'd be sitting there with my mother and my sister watching Oprah. You saw this black woman and you'd be like, wow, it is possible.
Yeah.
The world is not just in Rustenburg. There's so much more out there globally that one can do. So it's the exposure and the people that one is surrounded with that really ignite the possibilities.
So then, are you then a fan of the statement that says, so you are the company that you keep? So meaning that if you hang around the barber shop long enough, you will probably get a haircut soon.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The people you surround yourself with, the content that you feed your mind, that has been a key theme in my life. It's being intentional.
Yeah.
Being intentional. Yeah.
So then you leave Rustenburg, you go to University of Pretoria, then you study communications, you graduate, then you go into corporate South Africa. How did you find your footing in the corporate space?
In the corporate space, I was truly blessed. I had received a bursary, and one of the obligations of the bursary was that you would then work for the company for the period that they have sponsored you with your tuition and varsity career. So when I walked into a corporate, like any young graduate, you're excited and you're looking forward to take over the corporate space.
Yeah.
But theoretically, what you've learned and now what you have to apply, sometimes there's a mismatch.
Yeah.
And I saw that in corporate. I would be in corporate and I'd be like, whoa, there's a gap. And I saw the gap when I'd be in these corporate meetings, strategy sessions, corporate events, and I'd be like, irrespective of what qualification the person has, what leadership role they have, not everyone communicates effectively. Not everyone brings their message across in a manner that is captivating, draws those business results. And after identifying that problem in corporate, I then established one of, it's a leadership and communication club, Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And we started a Toastmasters club in Telkom. And I would witness all these professionals who would come 2 hours in their break at work, developing their communication and leadership skills. And people would come to me and say, Kefilwe, my manager has noticed me. I got that promotion that I wanted because I'm developing my leadership and communication skills. And just one day, I remember it was 2013, I was visiting my sister. And I said to her, I love imparting and coaching professionals. This is what I want to do with my life.
And which is where we're going right now,
Yeah.
right? So then in 2013, Giving Wings was started.
Yes.
Right? So maybe let's start with why Giving Wings.
Yeah.
Let's start with the name, Giving Wings, and we'll get to unpack what Giving Wings does.
Why Giving Wings? So the essence is that within all of us as humans and professionals, there's that innate potential, innate excellence that lies within us. But sometimes we do not see it in ourselves. We do not see the greatness in ourselves because of a number of factors. How we grew up, our background, the challenges that we faced, sometimes the internal voice that lies within us that tells us you're not good enough. And you need that company, that person that can give you the tools to unleash those elements of doubt, those elements of insecurity, to ultimately propel you to greater heights. And that's the essence of what we do at Giving Wings. We're a strategic consulting, training, and development company. And our mission is to develop leaders who unleash their greatest potential.
Sure. So they need to show up.
Yes, they do. So critical.
So they need to show up. Yeah. I mean, here you then. I mean, I was doing a bit of research on you, and I was saying, to my colleague here that I've had to re-look at my notes. I had a look, and I'm like, I think I need to change my strategy because, so you then challenged me to show up, right? So you then challenged me to, be very articulate in how I present this thing that I'm doing with you right now. And you are then regarded as one, a communicating strategist, a business coach, a social entrepreneur, and where do these things come from? What are some of the things that set your soul on fire and really propel you, to want to live up to these titles that you've been given?
Ooh, very good question. Whoa. I think for me, it's that human development. We are so much more powerful when we have that light that is within us shine out. What kind of world would we live in if everyone was shining their light? You see, just imagine that. If everyone was doing something that makes them come alive, whether you're a cleaner, whether you are a graduate, whether you're an executive leading a team of 800 people, what type of organizations, what type of country would we have if everyone was doing something that makes them come alive? So what pushes me and what ignites me every day to wake up and kick my blankets, because it's something that I do. For example, today was a very cold morning and I had this 8 o'clock meeting, but I made sure that I kick my blankets because the purpose is so much greater than me. And growing up, that has been my prayer. My prayer has been, Lord, use me for a purpose that is greater than myself. So that's what propels our work at Giving Wings. It's the purpose that is greater than us.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking at, I mean, you've identified a need in this space or in this world that we're living in, that everybody else is able to speak, everybody else is able to communicate, but it's the missing link here is the effective communication that comes with it, right? So what do you think needs to be done to young children at a very early age to ensure that we begin to raise children that are effective communicators? What do you think we need to do to make sure that we start breeding a whole new generation of young people, that are able then to express themselves and not miss out on getting their point across?
Ooh. When it comes to the youth, I am very, very passionate about the shift in education, the shift in how we empower and equip our youth. So what needs to be done with young people, take into consideration what is already being done in the school curriculum. It needs to be enhanced with leadership development, personal development, because Nnusi, myself and a number of other young people that I know are a product of youth development programs. Because as much as school curriculum is important, the skills that will truly set you apart in the world after high school, after tertiary, are those critical skills in leadership, skills in communication, in emotional intelligence, innovation, strategic thinking, that at times you are not taught those skills while you're going through the education system. So at Giving Wings Youth, our non-profit organization, we have been so integral in spearheading development programs for young people centered around leadership, centered around work readiness. How do we prepare them with those skills for the world of work? And the last pillar is around entrepreneurship. Because the truth of the matter is, it is high time we stop outsourcing our lives and our dreams to the government, to organizations, to X and Y people. Young people need to take ownership of the lives that they want for themselves. And it's really about inculcating that problem solver mindset, that entrepreneurial thinking. And that is what we're doing with young people.
You just touched on something that is very critical, and you spoke about work readiness. We then start speaking about entrepreneurship. But before we get to those two, I want to speak to you about leadership. Do you believe that all of us are leaders, or do you think that there's people who are natural born leaders, and that those that are groomed to become leaders also as well?
I believe it's a combination when it comes to leadership. So some people, they are born leaders. It is innate with them. You see it at a young age. You watch little kids. There's always that one who's leading the games, who's leading. This is how everybody needs to do something. And you can see that's a born leader. It's innate with them. And there are others where those leadership traits need to be developed. Maybe they might be stronger in other leadership traits like problem solving, decision making, but when it comes to empathy or interpersonal communication skills, that needs to be developed over time. And we're finding, particularly with our consulting leg at Giving Wings, we're working with executive organizational leaders to help them, even though they've been operating for 20 years in a leadership position, there are those leadership traits that still need to be developed. And that's what we're finding when it comes to leadership.
I mean, we live in a country where the bulk of our young people are unemployed. Either they've stopped looking for jobs, or they are trying, but then nothing comes forth. And we always hear this thing of young people must start something. Young people should start businesses. Do you think entrepreneurship is something that we should include in our schooling curriculums, and it's something that we should include in youth development programs?
Critical. I think sometimes the word entrepreneurship can be a bit overwhelming. It is. There's a certain pressure that comes with being an entrepreneur. For me, Nnusi, I think the focus needs to be more on let's develop problem solvers, because that's the essence of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are people who identify a problem, and they don't sit there and say, we have a problem, so what? They sit there and say, what is the solution to that problem? And we need to build young people, we need to build professionals who are problem solvers. Because if you're a problem solver, you are then adding value. So problem solving skills are critical, design thinking, innovation is critical. With one of our youth programs that we run in the township of Olivenhout-Bosch in Centurion, we go through a lot of problem solving, design thinking, entrepreneurship curriculum with our students. And I remember one year, one of our students came to us and said, I've identified a problem in the township, is excessive littering. My idea is I want to incentivize the community for recycling. So if you see litter in the community, we're going to create this platform where you can get an incentive for cleaning up the community. I thought, wow, what a powerful idea. One of our students came up with an idea of people don't have time to clean up their cupboards in their home because professionals are just so busy. My business is that I come into your home and I fold all your denims, I fold all your jerseys. And we thought, wow, that's a sharp idea. How do we nurture that thinking? So just some examples around entrepreneurship from a young age.
And I mean, not all heroes wear capes, right? So that's the word that I've learned over time, that that everybody needs a champion, and a champion lives within all of us, right? So in the work that you do, which we've established that you're not doing it for accolades, but you're doing it because you're passionate for it, and the world is watching, the society is watching the work that you do, and fortunately, with the world watching, a few accolades have come your way. And you were voted as, or you were considered the 2017 Social Entrepreneur winner in Gauteng, in the Business Women Association of South Africa Achieve Award. How does that change, or how does it affirm what you are doing as Kefilwe Morobane, and what you're doing as Giving Wings?
Wow. For me, it is, and exactly to what you're saying, the intention is never for the awards or the accolades. But when they do arrive, there's a deep sense of gratitude, a deep sense of honor that there are people who are recognizing and seeing the work that we're doing. But at the same time, it is a vote of confidence that the path we're on, it is the right path. It is that path that, and we know it through our research and our impact reports, that our work is impactful. It's making a difference. It's shifting how organizations operate and how organizations lead. It's shifting the trajectory in youth development in this country. So it's an absolute honor.
4 years later, you then won Unsung Heroes for Youth in Business category awards, or you were rather recognized as one of the unsung heroes in the Youth in Business category by Sunday World. Again, how important was that, or how important is that nod, or a feather in your cap?
Oh wow! So the Unsung Heroes Awards was such a full circle moment for me. So I don't know if you remember CNN Heroes. They used to run an award ceremony, and I remember once, I was still very young. I think I was in tertiary or high school, watching CNN, and Anderson Cooper was giving these awards to unsung heroes who are just ordinary individuals changing lives. And I remember watching that on TV, and I was like, one day I'd love to be an unsung hero, just to change people's lives. So I'm a big dreamer, and I keep a vision board in my office. And one of the things I did way back, maybe 6 years ago, was I put a picture of the CNN Unsung Heroes Award that was there. And when I got the call that I've been nominated with S2E2, A Sunday World, it was such an honor. And I was just like, wow, the power of intention, the power of putting something out there. And that's what I've realized in the work, and it's an honor, but it really just also illuminates the amount of work that still needs to be done. So, particularly with our work at Giving Wings Youth, we want to help more young people out in townships, out in rural areas, because who's fighting for them? There's the saying that you need to teach a man how to fish. But who's giving people that rod that enables them to go do their fishing? And at Giving Wings, that is what we want to do for young people. So yeah.
I mean, Kefilwe, you're very passionate about what you do, and I get it every single time I engage with you in terms of your love for young people. There'll come a point in anyone's life where we need to leave the stage, right?
When we need to
leave the stage. So meaning, at some point you need to stop doing what you're doing, right? What do you want to be remembered for? So what is your value proposition? What is the thing that you want all of us to remember when somebody says Kefilwe Morobane from Giving Wings?
Oh, wow. No, that's a very deep question. What would I like to be remembered for? I want to be remembered for, and it might sound like a cliche, but for giving people wings.
Okay.
And what do I mean by that? It is that truly made individuals, professionals, executives, leadership teams, young people, I left them better off than I found them. I helped people understand the importance of showing up, because so many of us are present, We're doing what is required, but very few people are showing up. And showing up requires you to be brave, bold, intentional, and put your best self forward. And if there was this person named Kefilwe Morobane who ignited that in someone, then I know I did my part.
Sure. Kefilwe, you and I can sit here and chat the whole day. But I'd like to wish you nothing but the best of success.
Thank you.
May you live out your name. May you become a gift to all of us. You know, and we've been given you as a gift to all of us. And may God continue to give you the strength to soar like an eagle. May your wings become stronger. May your wings, enable all of us, to fly. May we find comfort in knowing that there are people who have become change agents. There are people who have continued to fight for those that can't fight for themselves. May you continue to be the voice of the voiceless. And we are proud of you. We are proud of the work that you do. And when this is just us giving you flowers to say, we celebrate your success. We celebrate what you've been able to do. And like I said, may your wings, continue to flap as strong and as hard as they should be. May you soar like the eagle that you are. So a very big thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the great work you're doing. This platform is needed.
Yeah.
We need to celebrate and hear the stories of young people, professionals, just doing some really amazing work out there. So may you prosper and may you continue to shine your light.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And if I want to be a part of Giving Wings, either as a beneficiary or as a volunteer or so how do we do that? How do
so just visit our website. It is www.givingwings.co.za and you will be directed to whichever avenue interests you about the work that we do.
Kefilwe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was Conversation with Nnusi. I hope today you found your wings. I hope today you've been able to fly. I hope today you've been able to be inspired, by Kefilwe, who's been able to do amazing work with herself, with her team, and with the young people that she's impacting across the country and across the globe. I am inspired. And let's do it again next week. It's Conversation with Nnusi on YouTube, and on Spotify, it's Nnusi Gazi. Keep shining.